Okay, so in this video I'm going to read to you some of the book Beedle the Bard by J.K. Rowling. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get started with the book then. Here it is. So 1. The Wizard and the Hopping Pot. Here we go. There was an old and kindly old wizard who used his magic generously and wisely for the benefit of his neighbours. Rather than reveal the true source of his power, he pretended that his potions, charms, and assortments sprang ready-made from the little cauldron he called his lucky cooking pot. From miles around, people came to him with their troubles and problems, and the wizard was pleased to give his pot a stir and put things right. This well-behaved wizard lived to a good age. Then he died, leaving all his charms to his only son. This son was a very different to his father, those who could not work magic. Were to the son's mind worthless, and he had often quarrelled with his father's habit of dispensing magic aid to their neighbours. Upon the father's death, the son found hidden inside the old cooking pot a small package with his name on it. He opened it, hoping for gold, but found instead a soft, thick slipper, much too small to wear, and with no pair. A fragment of peppermint stuff with the slippers bore the words in a found hope, my son, that you will never need it. The son cursed his father's aged mind, then threw the slipper back into the cauldron, resolving to use it in henceforth as a rubbish pile. This very night a peasant woman knocked on the front door. My granddaughter is not well by a crop of warts, she told him. Your father used to mix a special portion in that old cooking pot. Go away, cried the son. What care I for your bat's wars? And he slammed the door in the old woman's face. At once there was a loud crackling and banging from his kitchen. The wizard lit his wand and opened the door, and there, to his amazement, he saw the father's old cooking pot. It had sprouted a single foot of barass and was hopping on the spot in the middle of the floor, making a fearsome noise upon the stones. The wizard approached it in wonder, but fell back when he saw that the whole of the pot's surface was covered in warts. Disgusting object, he said, and he tried fiercely to vanish the pot, then to clean it by magic, and finally to put it out of the house. None of his spells worked, however. He was unable to prevent the pot hopping after him out of the kitchen and then following him up to bed, clanging and banging loudly on every wooden stair. The wizard could not sleep that night for the banging of the warty old pot by his bedside, and next morning the pot, instead, upon hopping after him to the breakfast table, clang, clang, clang went the brass-footed pot, and the wizard had not even started his breakfast when there came another knock on the door. An old man stood on the doorstep. This my old donkey, sir, he explained. Lost she is. or stolen, and without her I cannot take my wares to the market, and my family will go hungry, and I am hungry now, said the wizard, and he slammed the door upon the old man. Clang, clang, clang went the cooking pot, single brass foot upon the floor, but now it was mixed with the brass of a donkey and human gross of hunger from the depths of the pot. Be still, be silent, said the wizard, but not all his magic powers could stop the withering pot, which hopped at his heels all day, raving and groaning and clanging. No matter where he went or what he did that evening, there came a third knock upon the door, and there on the threshold stood a young woman sobbing at throat. Her heart wouldn't break. My baby is graciously ill, she said. Can you please help me? Your father bade me come for trouble. But the wizard slammed the door shut on her, and now the tormenting pot filled to the brim with salt water and slopped tears all over the floor as it hopped and jumped and ran and sprouted more warts. No more villagers came to seek help at the wizard's house for the rest of the week. The pot kept him informed of their many illnesses. Within a few days it was not only bouncing and groaning and slopping and hopping and sprouting warts, it was also choking and regurgitating, crying like a baby and whistling like a dog, and speaking out bad cheese and sour milk and other things. The wizard could not sleep or eat with the pot beside him, but the pot refused to leave, and he could not silence it for it to be still, and the wizard could bear it no more. Bring me all your problems, all your troubles, and your worries, he said, fleeing into the night. With the pot hopping behind him along the road into the village came, let me curse you, mend you, and comfort you. I have my father's cooking pot, and I shall make you well. And with the foil pot still bouncing along beside him, he ran up the street, casting spells in every direction. Inside one house, the little girl's warts vanished as she slept. The lost donkey was summoned from a distant briar patch and sat down softly in the stable. The sick baby was better again and woke well, and rose at every house of sickness and swore. The wizard did his best, and graciously the cooking pot beside him stopped groaning and jumping and became quiet, shiny and clean. Well, pot, asked the trembling wizard as the sun began to rise. The pot bumped out the single slipper he had thrown into it and permitted him to fit it on to the brass foot. Together they set off back to the wizard's house, the pot's footstep muffled at the last, but from that day forward the wizard helped the villagers like his father before him. Last the pot cast off its slipper and began to hop once more. A kind old wizard decided to teach his hardened son a lesson by giving him a taste of the local muggle's mystery. The young wizard's conscience awakes, and he agrees to use his magic for the benefit of his non-magical neighbours. A simple and heartwarming fable, one might think, in which case one would reveal oneself to be an innocent nincompoop, a pro-muggle story showing a muggle-loving father as supervisor in the magic to muggle-hating son. It is nothing short of amazing that many copies of the original version of this tale survived the flames to which they were so often considered. Well, that's all in this video. I'll be